Uhuru, you're listening to Diasporic Music on Black Power 96, and we just were listening to the OJs, a song that was written and produced, or wrote and produced by Mr. H.B. Barnum, who we have on the line, and that was H.B. Barnum basically, I guess, put the OJs on the map before they blew up. Mr. Barnum had them, and H.B. Barnum was born in Houston, Texas, and at the age of 4, he won a nationwide talent show.
Okay.
What did you say? I'm sorry. Were you going on
Okay.
to say?
You said you ran it together. I thought you said I was born at the age of 4.
I know. Knowing me, I probably did say that.
Yeah.
And well, Mr. Barnum is he's going to celebrate his 22nd birthday pretty soon.
21st.
How you like that? 21st.
Yeah.
You wait. What? Were you going to stop at 21? Okay. All right. 21st. All right.
No, last year I put my age up so I could go to a club. So I was really only, so I'll be 21 this year. And you've been knowing me long enough not to be calling me Mr. Barnum.
Well, I was raised by women from Louisiana and Texas and Mississippi, so I'm gonna Mr. Yes sir, no sir, y'all. That's part of the culture, sir.
Yeah, but you raised me, so you can call me HB.
All right, HB. And we are. First thing I want to ask you is, can we talk about the choir that you put together, the Life Choir, and the work you're doing around gospel music? And first of all, this is the last week of Black Music Month. And what does gospel music and Black Music Month have in common?
Well, gospel music is really the only true American music born in America. Everybody says jazz, but gospel came before jazz. Jazz fed off of gospel music. So gospel roots go back to when the country was founded, and it came a lot from what the Indians were doing and the strains that we brought from Africa. So this is the real American music.
And could you talk about the Life Choir and what are you doing with the Life Choir? And I understand you're recording, or you're going to be recording sooner than later.
Yes, the Life Choir is a community-based organization, and it's made up of all races and interdenominational choir. We have all different religions in the choir, and we've been around since 1981. It started out just as a hobby for me, just to hear some of my music sung by singers. So I invited a lot of the singers that I was working in the pop field with to come in and say, "Come on, let's sing these songs for me." And amongst those people were people like Brenda Holloway, Etta James was a choir member, Gloria Jones was a choir member, Richard Berry was a choir member, Dorothy Berry. All those people were the original Life Choir. And we got together one night at a rehearsal studio, and there were about 15 people, and we sang a couple of songs, and we said, let's do it again next week. And we did it next week. And so that was started back in 1981, and we're still going.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of the people that you were Aretha Franklin's musical director for about 25 years. You worked with Count Basie, Etta James, Nancy Wilson, Martha Reeves, the Temps, the Jackson 5, the Marvelettes, O.C. Smith, Frank Sinatra, Lou Rawls, the Supremes, Al Wilson.
I've been very fortunate,
Yes.
fortunate to be able to arrange and produce some, arrange for some, produce some, write songs for some, and most of all, have those wonderful people in my life who everyone you mentioned was a champion person, So that was my benefit.
I know you. I remember you saying that the Aretha used to hire and fire people. I guess in including you, but I think she always brought you back. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, she brought me back to the very end. I got fired at least 30 times, and so I must have been hired back 31.
We have another person on the line, Melinda Francis. I know she has some questions for you, sir.
Hi, Melinda.
Hi, HB. So, I just wanted to get your take on, around Black Music Month, and it's kind of had its ups and downs. Where do you think it's going? And yeah.
You mean the music?
The Black Music Month in general, like June.
Well,
Black
it's been so once they infiltrated. Because of the AI and because of all of the people who control the music. And when I say control, the radio stations, the people who own the media, it's very hard because black music is like the root. And then after that root, many branches, trees, many branches grow. So it's hard to say because the society is so mixed up now, whether they will really be what we call black music. Even in some of the remote places where a lot of the brothers come from, like some of the islands and stuff, the radio stations now play stuff that's not. I'm not going to say it's not wholesome, but it's not real. It's been kind of mixed up with a lot of other stuff. So the days of the writers like that wrote for the OJs, that wrote for the Whispers, that wrote for Aretha, those days are gone. It's a new era. There will always be some form of soul music, but not as we know it.
So, are you saying that songs are now written by AI? Kind of scary.
I'm almost afraid to say yes, but I think that's what's happening because the people that control the airwaves, they play what's popular or what's lucrative, and it's more lucrative for AI to produce a song than it is for them to pay me. So what happens if you only hear what you hear, then the people, that's all they're going to hear, and that's what they're going to relate to. True stations that play true music, how long will they last in this world of economics,
You're listening to Dice Music on Black Power 96. And you mentioned Brenda Holloway. Brenda Holloway went to Jordan High School, and I think Charles Mingus went to Dorsey High School. You went to Manual Arts High School.
I went to Manual, that's right.
And I went to Fremont and to Washington, and we always had rivalries in sports and in music. I remember I sat next to Brenda Holloway in a music class, summer school class at Fremont, because she went to Jordan. She was from Watts. And, the next time I saw her, she was touring with the Beatles.
Yes, at that time, if you black act, and I'm saying black because they call it black music then too. So would always look to be able to tour with one of those groups. That's the way the music got integrated. Because prior to those times, remember, black artists only were played on black radio and never on white radio. And had it not been for groups like the Beatles or the Stones, and especially somebody like a Dick Clark, who played black music, and Alan Freed, I have to give him some props. Remember, the music was segregated. So unless you were with one of those white groups, you never got a chance to have your music heard by the young kids, the young white kids, who once they heard it went crazy because the beat was different.
Well, didn't Alan Freed used to close his show with "Good Night, My Love" by Brother Jesse Belvin?
Yeah. Yeah, but you remember that if Jesse had come along 10 years before, that record would have never been on a white radio station or a station that had a white audience. There was so much music lost because, during the 30s and 40s and up until the 50s, all the music was just played on a segregated radio.
But you were the first after Elvis. Elvis was recorded by RCA Victor. It's my understanding. Were you the first? Didn't you record for RCA Victor even before Sam Cooke?
Oh no! I think Sam was for me.
Oh, Sam was before you. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah. They had Sam. They had Lovelace Watkins. Let's see. They had somebody else. Because remember, RC was taking a lot of artists from Specialty.
Specialty, right? That's an LA label, right?
Well, yeah. Our group, yeah.
Specialty had Little Richard and what's his name? You got personality. Lloyd Price, right?
Lloyd Price, yeah. They had.
Right.
I'm not sure if they didn't have Lil Esther one time too. Especially our group, there were quite a few. I think Lowell Fulton. Yeah, especially had a lot of. Well, I mean, there was many of black artists. That would be their main.
And Lowell Fulton is another Los Angeles guy, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure where Lowell came from, but I didn't really know him well. I met him.
He came from maybe Oklahoma, but he made it out of Los Angeles. That's what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah. Well, Amos Milburn is out here. I'm not sure. The first labels I became familiar with, as far as it was Dutone and Jack Lauderdale, but I can't remember what label the name of his label was. But Jack Lauderdale, he had a label, and he had Lil Esther and Mel Walker and Johnny Otis. And
Mel Walker, I remember Mel was a pretty boy, right? Mel Walker was Johnny Otis.
Him and Lil Esther Phillips recorded a blues standard called Double Crossing Blues. It's one of the blues standards.
Right. The Little Esther and Jack Johnson and Barry White, all of them were from Galveston, Texas. They're Texans like yourself, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I met Barry out here,
Yeah, Barry was you met. When did you meet Barry White?
Probably met Barry early, but didn't really work with him until later in his career. I'm probably, we all knew each other. Me, Sam, Barry, Jesse Belvin, the young Jesse, the Penguins, the Dutones, the Moon, the Medallions. I mean, everybody ran in the same circles. Lou Rawls, Larry Williams. Everybody ran in the same circle, so we all kind of knew each other, but didn't know each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You and Charles went to to the same school, I guess, but at different times, right? Charles Wright.
Yeah. I met Charles. He had already had one record. It wasn't Respect Yourself. He had a record before that, and so we all, because we all did hops for Hunter Hancock and for what's the other, the Wink Martindale had shows.
That was it. Dougie. What was the guy used to be? Big Huggy Boy.
Huggy Boy, Rudy Harvey, Magnificent Montague, Art LeBeau. They all had shows, and so we all ran into each other, every week on some show. But we really didn't know each other or hang out a lot together. But we all knew each other,
Right. And the Manual Arts and Jordan and Fremont, they all had rivalries in sports. Was
Jefferson too?
The Southern League?
Yeah, but Jefferson also, remember. Jefferson, Fremont, Manual. Remember, Dorsey was in the Western League, so we played Dorsey, but only if we got to in like city or something like that. Yeah, the Southern League was Manual, Jeff,
Dorsey was middle class.
Upper class. Dorsey and LA were upper class.
Yes. So that's where Johnny Cochran and Johnny Cochran went to Los Angeles High School, and the Manual, Fremont, and Jordan were we were the so-called we were the I think Fremont was a upper lower class, right?
Yeah. The only time we got to the schools was at some athletic event or something,
And produced some pretty. Also had like what's his name? Max Roach used to say we could run and jump, but we also could think as well. We did produce some people that we produced Olympic champions as well as people that had think right.
I mean, you got senators, and I was with Senator Maxine Waters the other day. They produced senators and statesmen and presidential candidates. Out of the projects and what they refer to as the ghetto came a lot of brilliant people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we lived in what was it? Well, Aliso Village. I lived at 1333. Was it Kearney Street? It's been so long ago. For me, not you.
I lived at 333 Paseo Lozanga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I go by there frequently, and it's all changed now because they tore it all down and built like little apartments. Well, it looks like little condos. But the school ground was still there, and I think it's probably a historical monument now. And that's a lot of people came out of that project.
Yeah, I remember my mother told me that your father actually buried my grandmother, Ola Mae Pruitt. Yep.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Ola Mae, that's my grandmama. Ola Mae Pruitt. Yeah, she was born in Simsboro, Louisiana. Lincoln Parish. Simsboro.
Oh, I know this one. I don't. Simsbury.
Simsboro.
Simsboro.
Yeah, who came from Simsboro was Felton Vernon, one of the baddest bass singers. I know you and I always. You always correct me about bass singers. I always would be talking about Melvin, and you were talking about the guy who sang bass for Elvis could get down there. But
yeah, but you also had uh, uh, the boy that sang bass for the Robins, Doug Jones, Doug
Dub.
was, yeah, there were a lot of great,
shopping for clothes. That was a bad boy. Stranded in the jungle.
Uh-huh. And why
the boys in the jungle had me on the run when something heavy hit me like an atomic bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Great Googa Mooga. Get me out of here. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I think he was he might have been from Shreveport, Louisiana. I think he might have been
Oh, I'm not sure where he's from, but I know most of the guys that came out here either came out of from Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas, and Mississippi. A lot of Mississippi dudes, and then the Georgia and them, they went to Chicago and Detroit. Most of them went to Chicago and Detroit. There were quite a few. I would like to do some kind of a history of the guys that came out of the village. I mean, Aliso Village. I mean, Pico Gardens had Don Jordan, who was a lightweight champ of the world, and they had a couple more boxers. Couple more boxers that became world champions.
A lot of people in California argue that we didn't really have good gyms in Los Angeles, like Detroit and Chicago, because there was some great.
No, we weren't too bad. I boxed. We had a gym at was Hollywood Legion Stadium, and we had another gym because Dwight Hawkins and I were in the same gym, and that was. I'm trying to think. There was a gym over on San Pedro. I gotta research it, and then they had a gym at Hollywood Legion Stadium where we could train.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had an abundance of Mexican fighters and
Mexicans, right?
And a few class black fighters like Chucky Wright and Dwight Hawkins, who was great, Don Jordan, who was mixed, So I'm sure there are more. I mean, we did the research. We probably find a lot of people that came from that area. Maybe not in the projects, but right in that general area. What was the projects over on Main Street? What was the name of that project?
I can't remember. I cannot remember.
Right over on North Main Street. So that was another project. Because, they're all within 5 or 6 miles of each other,
I'm trying to say, was it projects in near Bellflower or Bellflower? I had colored cousins that went to Bellflower High School, and they came out of the projects over there. I forgot. Oh my God, yeah.
What year was that?
50s, early 60s.
I'm trying to think of projects in Bellflower. Boy, that's really.
These were the Malones. My cousins, the Malones, right?
Yeah, Nicholson Gardens.
I thought Nicholson Gardens was Watts.
That's Watts, okay.
Yeah, and Nicholson. I believe Nicholson Gardens is Watts. I think Stanley Crouch might have came out of there.
Okay.
Stanley.
Yeah. So.
But what's coming up? What's coming up next for you? Because in terms of what should people look out coming from H.B. Barnum and your group?
Well, hopefully, with a little luck, we have 2 Broadway shows on the cooker right now. One is the Four Tops musical entitled "I'll Be There," and we were real close to getting it up this year, and then of course we lost Duke Picard. We lost Duke, and that kind of slowed things down. And then there's also a show called Friends, and it's the story of C.S. Smith And the other guy is two guys from England. The guy who did Lord of the Rings, Tonkin, Tonkin Smith. Yeah. So both of those on the burner. There's been some financing already. Oh, and one more, a Bricktop. Bricktop was the black lady out of Chicago who had a club in Europe during World War One, and that club used to. I mean, you'd have the German generals and the French generals and the English generals all at the same club at the same time, which leads me to believe it was probably a brothel, But that was that. But they all, the enemies would meet there and drink together and whatever, And Bricktop, she was a jazz singer, left Chicago, went and opened this club in France. And you check her out. Just if you Google Bricktop, I can't think of her name right off the top of my head right now. Anyway, you'll see they call her Bricktop because she had red hair, and she was quite a legend in French history because I guess the girls that were there at the place would try to get secrets from the German officers. They came there. Yeah, but look at that Bricktop. Yeah, and so we've got three. I got three shows on the burner, and we'll see what happens. God willing, we'll get one of them on Broadway in the next couple of years.
Okay, that sounds good. Is there anything you want to ask Melinda before we close out? We have 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, no, just keep, thanks to guys like you, we keep getting music played. Don't let it's not as dominant, but we can't let people forget where it came from. So we're thankful. I was talking to Paul Reiser this morning before you called, and we're thankful that somebody still remembers that there is music made by live people, live instruments, and has melodies and words. So the people like you who keep us going, we appreciate it.
Paul Reiser, for people that was an arranger for what were some of the biggest hits that Paul Reiser did for people, so people know who you're talking about.
Paul Reiser was probably the dominant arranger in Motown. It was Paul Reiser and Dave Van de Peet. They were and Paul arranged everything from Papa the Rolling Stone to Supreme's Baby Love. Paul was he was a trombone player that was at Motown when they started. Very, very brilliant guy, good man. We did a podcast a couple of days ago. Myself, Paul Reiser, McKinley Jackson, and who was the fourth one? Ben Wright. Yeah.
Ben Wright. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We did a podcast today, and Paul worked real close with Brian and Eddie Allen on all their early songs. Before I didn't enter the picture till about a year and a half into the label, but Paul was there from the very start, and a beautiful human being, talented and still working. He still lives in Detroit, still working.
Well, I wanted to say this in close. I remember a great arranger from born in New York of Barbadian background. I'm having a senior moment, having Jimmy Roach. Yeah.
What's the name?
Jimmy Roach. My whole world ended. I think he helped arrange. He did all the Four Top stuff. Still Waters Run Deep and one of my favorite songs of all time, And I Panic by the Dramatics. That's his handiwork.
Okay, Jimmy Roach. I'm going to think because I should.
Jimmy Roach. Yeah, Jimmy Roach. He's in Atlanta right now. We've had him on the show, but Jimmy was born in New York, but he's a Bayesian. I met him in Detroit, and he is.
Jimmy probably worked with. Did he work with them before they were the tops? Because once they became the tops, Brian and Eddie was the guys. You know, they produced all their stuff. You know.
Oh yeah. But he was there around. He came there with what's his name, Norman Whitfield, Popcorn, and all those guys.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But he might even be listening to the show now. Jimmy Rose. We've had him on quite a few times.
Oh, good. Okay. I'll have to.
He's based in Atlanta now.
Yeah, I'll probably run into him. I just can't hit the top of my head, but I'm gonna look at it when I get up for him and look and see. Jimmy Roach. Okay.
Jimmy Roach. Okay.
There were so many talented people at Motown at that time, you know.
Yeah, because I remember this. I'm gonna end at this. But I remember one time bumping into you and Etta Jones and Houston Person. You didn't recognize me because you hadn't seen me. Hadn't seen me in years and years and years, and you stood up and talked to me for about a half an hour. And at that particular time, I was kind of wasn't supposed to. I had refused to go to Vietnam, so I was kind of slipping into darkness. And I sat there and talked to you and Etta Jones and Houston Person. Must have been half an hour, and you talked to me like I was your brother. I never will forget that. I say this, because my mother. I'm gonna say this. Then I'm really gonna hang. My mother used to call me every time you would be on one of those Dick Clark shows. She would call me. She'd call me Earl. HB is on television. Turn the TV on. Turn the TV on. HB is on. HB is on the TV.
Well, I had one fan.
Oh yeah. My Eliza Richmond. Yeah, she was your biggest fan.
Oh man, you made my day.
All right, my brother, my comrade. Let me let you go.
All right, God bless you. You guys be safe.
All right, and we have been speaking with H.B. Barnum and Melinda Francis and Lisa Watson. We're going to pause for the Jazz Zone and come back with Dr. Gerald